Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today we're tackling a story that's, well, it's incredibly disturbing. It really makes you question everything about family, trust, what goes on behind closed doors.
Absolutely. It's one of those narratives that gets under your skin because
Yeah.
it taps into those deep-seated anxieties,
Hmm,
about how well we really know the people closest to us.
right. So our mission here is to piece together this harrowing story. We're working with some really intense personal accounts, memories that are kind of fragmented, and some truly chilling records.
And it's not just about the horror, is it? It's also about how people endure, how trauma shapes lives over, decades.
And how seeking the truth, even a brutal one, can lead to this fierce kind of justice. It's complex.
Definitely. It shows how deception can be incredibly sophisticated, how appearances can hide just unimaginable things, and how the past, it always comes back, doesn't it? It demands a reckoning.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. The story really kicks off with this profound absence, this huge hole left by Julia Carroll. She was a young woman who disappeared back in 1991.
And her father, he was a man of science, right? Needed facts.
Exactly, needed evidence. But with his daughter just gone, his mind couldn't help but conjure these awful scenarios. He talks about thinking, abducted, raped, defiled, like just constant horrifying thoughts.
That's the torture of not knowing, isn't it? The ambiguity.
And it's made worse by the official response, the local sheriff. His theory was basically, oh, she was just rebellious.
Which is such a dismissal.
Totally. Her parents knew her as headstrong and passionate, and they even pointed out, those same qualities in a young man. He'd be called smart, ambitious. But for Julia, it meant she was trouble.
That double standard is infuriating, even setting aside the tragedy itself.
So the last time anyone confirmed seeing her, it was leaving the Manhattan Cafe just before 10:38 p.m. She had a headache, told her friend Nancy Griggs she was walking home.
Even though Nancy tried to get her to stay.
Right. Julia was determined. And Nancy's words are just haunting. She says, after 10:38 p.m., I never saw her again. Just like that. Gone.
And that lack of closure, as you said,
Yeah.
it just eats away at people.
Yeah.
Psychologically, it's called ambiguous loss.
Mm-hmm.
It's this chronic state because there's no definitive answer.
You really feel that with her father. He spent years,
Yeah.
decades, searching. He had this wall of clues just poring over every tiny detail, desperate for an image, a word, anything.
That obsessive search.
Yeah.
It's driven by the mind's need for an ending, for a coherent story, even a terrible one.
And the moment his hope finally broke, it wasn't a clue. It was seeing this poor, abused dog that had fur, raw spots, just pitiful.
Whoa.
And in that moment, he just understood. He thought the dog hadn't been abandoned. It would just wandered off, slipped its leash. And somehow that image, that feeling, it solidified for him that Julia wasn't coming back. Not in the way he hoped.
Wow. That's a heavy realization, a kind of empathy-driven closure. It wasn't about facts anymore, but about connecting with suffering.
Yeah. He even said later, your mother was right. The details tore me apart. It wasn't just about what happened, but the story itself.
The narrative needed completion, even if it was unbearable.
Okay, so let's fast forward. This is where things take another really sharp turn. We meet Claire Scott, Julia's younger sister, in the present day.
And she's just gotten off an ankle monitor, right, for disorderly conduct.
Yeah, which seems like a small detail, but it hints at
That-
something, some turbulence there. And her husband, Paul, he seems like the absolute perfect guy.
The Rock.
Totally. Punctual, attentive, her anchor. He even explains things like signal detection theory to her when she feels phantom sensations from the monitor, like trying to rationalize her feelings for her.
Okay, red flag right there. Using complex terms to explain away her own physical sensations.
Right. It's basically about telling signal from noise, but he uses it to suggest her feeling is just random static in her brain. It's subtle, but it's about control, isn't it? Making her doubt herself.
Classic manipulation. He's setting himself up as the authority on her own experience, undermining her perception, making her come in. It's chillingly meticulous.
But then there's Lydia, Claire's older sister, and her take on Paul. Completely different. From the moment she met him, she had this bad feeling. Thought Claire could do so much better. She found him creepy, always too close, hovering. She was convinced he was isolating Claire.
And Lydia had her own past struggles with addiction.
Yeah, which maybe gave her a different perspective. She saw Paul as just the wrong type of guy, not someone Claire could ever really connect with passionately, just dulling her spark, maybe.
Her instincts were screaming, basically.
And then Lydia reveals something truly shocking. Years ago, she says, Paul tried to rape her.
Oh, wow.
And he whispered this phrase, "Tell me you want this."
Ugh. That phrase. It's not just about assault, it's about forcing compliance, erasing will, psychological domination.
Exactly. And imagine Claire hearing that, thinking back on every interaction. It reframes everything.
And it explains Lydia's deep distrust. It wasn't just a vague feeling, it was rooted in this horrific violation. It also shows how predators test boundaries, even within families, and how often victims aren't believed when the abuser seems so perfect.
So, just as Claire's dealing with Paul's sudden death, supposedly during a robbery boom, another bombshell.
Okay.
The FBI shows up. Agent Fred Nolan drops this truth bomb. They didn't just find Paul dead, they helped him fake his death.
What? Why?
Because he'd apparently embezzled $3 million. And then, to make it even worse, Paul, the dead husband, cold-cocked the FBI agent and vanished.
No way. So the grief, the robbery, all fake.
All an elaborate lie. Her entire reality just implodes. The perfect husband is a con artist, a fugitive.
That kind of betrayal, it forces you to question everything. Every memory, every shared moment is now tainted. Lydia's instincts were spot on. And you have to wonder, if he could fake his death and embezzle millions, what else was he hiding?
Exactly. And what he was hiding, it's worse than anyone could possibly imagine. Claire's instincts, now razor sharp from the betrayal, lead her to his garage office, to a hidden hard drive.
Oh, no.
And what's on it is just sickening videos, disgusting movies, she calls them, torture and murder of women.
Oh, my God.
And then the blood runs cold. She recognizes one victim. She looks uncannily like Anna Kilpatrick, a teenager who'd recently gone missing, whose body was found mutilated on the Beltline.
So Paul wasn't just a thief.
Mm-hmm.
He was involved in that.
It gets deeper. She finds physical files, too. Personal 1, Personal 2, color-coded, meticulously labeled with women's names.
Files on who?
On women he'd hired private investigators to track for 17 and a half years, including Lydia.
17 years. That's not impulsive. That's systematic. He wasn't just a killer. He was an architect of this whole horrifying enterprise.
His planning went way beyond buildings and the lies. And remember, he said his childhood home, the Fuller house, was sold.
Yeah.
Another lie. It wasn't sold. It was still there. Secret compound. And the barn from that painting Claire did, the creepy Amityville-looking one, it was real. It was there. That's where Julie...
Oh, God, that's where it happened.
And then the final blow, Claire and Lydia, together now in this nightmare, find VHS tapes, old tapes, including one of Julia's murder. And Paul calls them. He knows they know, and he confesses. Sort of. Says his father was the killer, that he just found his dad's stuff.
Trying to distance himself.
Exactly. But then he admits he started making copies and sending them out for good money, just cold, calculating.
So he didn't just inherit it, he scaled it. Built it into a business.
Yeah.
Using duping machines, disc burners, turning these horrors into a product. That connects back to Ben Carver's hint about images and words.
And the password to his hidden computer files, the final sickening twist.
What was it?
03041991, March 4th, 1991.
The day Julia disappeared.
The day their family's nightmare began. For him, it was a password, a trophy.
That level of depravity. And he said it became global.
Yeah, the investigation uncovered this massive network. A folder labeled JJ pointed to powerful people like a Congressman Johnny Jackson. Hundreds of victims worldwide. It wasn't just Paul and his father. It was this huge hidden network.
Enabled by people in power. Hiding in plain sight. Unbelievable.
So the story hurtles towards this terrifying climax. Paul manages to abduct Lydia, takes her to that same compound, to his murder room.
Yeah.
He uses nitrous oxide on her, disorients her, and then the psychological torture, twisting her deepest fears against her, taunting her, saying horrible things like, do you really think I want to rape a fat 40-year-old? Just designed to break her.
That's pure sadism. Utterly cruel.
But seeing her sister terrorized like that, it does something to Claire. That grief, that fear, it transforms into this cold, righteous fury.
She snaps.
Completely. She plans her revenge with this terrifying clarity, goes to the compound, douses the house in gasoline, but deliberately leaves the murder room untouched. Like, she wants him to see it coming.
Wow, it's calculated.
The final confrontation is just raw. Claire faces Paul. There's this deceptive kiss, and then she kills him, whispering, I see you. I see exactly who you are.
A moment of brutal personal justice.
Yeah.
Reclaiming the power.
And Lydia. She manages to escape the burning garage, just pure scent and adrenaline. But then, near the old well on the property, she finds it.
Finds what?
Julia's gold locket. The one Julia had borrowed from her years ago, engraved with a cursive L. The locket Julia was wearing the day she disappeared.
Oh my God. Physical proof. After all those years.
Yeah. Tangible. Tragic. But closure. Finally.
And that closure, however awful, allows the healing to start, doesn't it? It allows them and their mother Helen to finally face the truth, to mourn properly after decades of that agonizing uncertainty.
It's like they took the narrative back. From him to them, the survivors.
Absolutely. And their actions, finding those files, ultimately expose that global network, bringing some justice, some answers to potentially hundreds of other families.
So you've just taken this deep dive with us into, well, into the abyss, really. A story that rips away the facade of a perfect life to show this incredibly dark web of lies, control, and just unspeakable acts.
It's a powerful testament, though, isn't it? To family bonds, even fractured ones, and to that relentless human drive to find the truth, whatever the cost.
Uncovering not just a killer, but a global network, implicating powerful figures. It's staggering.
It really leaves you thinking, though. In a world where people can build these incredibly convincing facades, where control can look so much like care, how do we ever really know? How vigilant do you have to be to actually see the person next to you?
And what happens when the monster isn't just next door, but inside your own home, sharing your life?
That's the chilling question, isn't it? How do you spot the monster when it looks just like the person you love most?